Scattered across modern Howell, New Jersey, are three seemingly unrelated landmarks: an old church, a community grange hall, and a private farmhouse. While they appear disconnected today, they are actually the surviving fragments of a single-family estate that was nearly erased by tragedy. In the early 1840s, a farmer named Daniel Williams held this land. He was an ambitious steward of his family's legacy, systematically buying out his relatives to expand the ancestral homestead into a massive 100-acre operation of orchards and timber. To accommodate his 9 children, Daniel constructed a newer, larger home in the center of the woods, a building designed to house the next generation of the Williams lineage. That future vanished in May of 1843. At just 41 years old, Daniel walked into the forest near a neighbor's property and took his own life, hanging himself from an oak tree. The sudden loss of the patriarch immediately fractured the 100-acre farm. Without a clear succession plan, the grieving family was left with an impossibly tangled estate that faced total dissolution in the local courts. By 1850, the estate reached a legal crisis. The court ruled that the farm could not be equitably partitioned among Daniel's 9 surviving heirs, ordering the land to be sold at a public auction for cash proceeds. Daniel's eldest daughter, Mary, and her husband, Israel West Reynolds, intervened. To prevent the loss of the ancestral tract, they purchased the entire 100-acre property themselves. They immediately repurposed the property for the community. An 1851 map of the area shows that the newer house Daniel built just before his death had been converted into the neighborhood's public district school. This strategic move did more than just save the land. It transformed the site of a private family tragedy into a vital educational hub for the entire township. In 1863, Israel and Mary decided to build a permanent home on the farm, raising a brand new farmhouse directly over the exact footprint of the old 1840s house. That same structure still stands today on Clayton Road. But the family's return was short-lived. Only months after the house was finished, Mary died unexpectedly and was buried directly on the homestead soil. Distraught by the loss, Israel carved out a 1-acre parcel of the farm in 1864, donating the land to establish a Methodist church and a permanent cemetery centered around his wife's grave. Israel then sold the northern portion of the farm, including the newly built 1863 house, to his brother, Charles Reynolds. These decisions permanently altered the local map. While the donation froze the churchyard in time, it severed the Williams children from their ancestral home and the house their sister built. A decade passed before the youngest Williams son, Henry, returned to the land. He was only a toddler when his father died in 1843, but by the 1870s, he was ready to reclaim a stake in the homestead. In 1873, Henry opened a general store on the southeast corner of the property line, adjacent to the church and his sister's resting place. Simultaneously, the neighboring Allaire family leased land nearby to build a public schoolhouse, labeled as Schoolhouse 108. This 1873 schoolhouse survives today as the Southard Grange, sitting in a cluster of buildings that formed the commercial and spiritual heart of the town, a heart built entirely on the old Williams tract. The ancestral farm had inadvertently evolved into the center of the community, providing the momentum Henry needed for a final, total reclamation of the land. In 1876, Henry Williams married Cornelia Reynolds, a match that turned out to be the family's most critical strategic alliance. Cornelia was the daughter of Charles Reynolds, the same man who had purchased the northern tract of the Williams homestead years earlier. In May 1878, the reclamation was finalized. Henry purchased the northern tract from his in-laws, returning the house and soil to the Williams name. After 35 years of separation, Henry moved his own family into the 1863 house, the home built by his late sister Mary, atop the footprint of their father's original dwelling. Through decades of patience and a strategic marriage, the youngest son successfully reversed the fracturing of his father's estate, proving that the family's roots in this soil were deeper than the tragedy that had tried to sever them. By 1900, the older brother, Daniel D. Williams, also returned to the homestead. The siblings who survived the 1843 tragedy reunited, farming the ancestral soil together once again. Today, Henry's reclamation is still visible from space. This 17.77-acre perimeter defines the northern tract in modern Howell. Within or adjacent to this boundary sit 3 survivors: the 1863 farmhouse at 37 Clayton Road, the 1873 Southard Grange, and the Bethel Churchyard. These buildings stand as permanent, physical monuments to a family's absolute refusal to be erased. They remain anchored to the soil today, a tangible record of resilience that spans 7 generations and outlives the tragedy of 1843.